Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey, friends, it's Lachelle Weemy here. I am so excited to have you back for another episode of the Spiral Up podcast, and I get a chance to have a kick butt conversation with my dear friend, Pamela Hilton. You guys are going to have the best time listening to this woman, and she's going to give you so much insight, so much hope, so much just nuggets of wisdom that is going to take your business beyond what you thought it could do. You guys, I am so excited for our conversation today. Pamela is a phenomenal CPA and tax strategist and business strategist and all these things. We've known each other for years. We've both been part of very high level coaching programs. So I mean, we're cut from the same cloth, definitely both just driven by making ourselves the best versions of ourselves, seeing what's possible, seeing what we're capable of, but more than anything to empower other women to be their best, which is why I love, your mission is to really help women in business, and especially those 6 and 7 figure business owners who've been winging it, DIYing it up to this point. And you're like, what the heck am I doing in my finances, my bookkeeping, and my tax strategy? And even more importantly, catching those women before they get to the part where they have a giant mess to clean up and get them set up for success right away. I just love that. Tell us a little bit more about you, what you do, kind of all the cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for inviting me, Lachelle. I always love to be involved in anything that you're doing because you inspire so many people, so many women, and I love to just be a part of it. So yes, my name is Pamela Hilton. I'm a certified public accountant, licensed in Massachusetts, but I have clients all over the country. And we work a little bit different than other CPA firms. We kind of are, one of our taglines is, we're not your father's CPA. And we are all about educating our clients, advising them, and creating packages for them, all-inclusive packages, where it's not just a tax return. You meet with your CPA once a year. You meet with us. We support your business. We like to partner with you and get really involved. And we do the accounting part of it. We do the tax return part of it. We can offer payroll. And we offer strategy sessions and tax planning and tax strategies, because the bottom line is we're invested in your business. We want you to grow your business and become successful, but we also want you to be strategic about it. Mm-hmm. And we want to be there to save you money and to think about doing, everybody hates the accounting part, right? Everybody tells me how much they hate numbers. They hate the accounting part. And yes, but you still have to have the accounting part if you're a business owner. And you don't have to know all things, but you should know a little bit so that you can harness it to make management decisions. And we show you how to do that in kind of a non-threatening way, so that even if you're not a numbers person and you're not a math person, you can see the fun, if it is fun in, getting your numbers in order and getting your in order to make those big business decisions that you need to make.
Right. 100%. There's so much that I can't wait to dive into, but I got to just say that, Pamela, one of the things that I've noticed over the last several years of my business is that when we can harness the power of who, we can get to where we want to go faster and more efficiently, right? Yes. And so it's I could, Google and watch YouTube on, tax strategies all day long and try to DIY it, figure it out myself. But what I found is that a 9-minute conversation with somebody who's, several steps ahead of me is going to save me time. It's going to save me money. And And that's why I'm so proud to have you be part of my Spiral Up expert team, that my clients get a chance to connect with you in my high level version and just get to learn from you in all these different ways. And, one of the things that I talk about a lot inside of Spiral Up is creating a business that doesn't result in burnout, right? And you guys have heard me say, even just the last, episode that I recorded is all about, delegating and delegating, delegating. And Pamela and I were talking about this before we hit record of like, do a lot of your clients that are in 6 and 7 figures, do they, are they in their books? Do they know how to do a proper payroll? Do they know how to do all of that stuff? And I was surprised. You're like, no, like they're not.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And it's funny that you use the word delegate, because we've done some reels on this about the difference between delegating and kind of deflecting. And
yes,
we see this all the time with clients. And you can delegate it. Like when you hire a third party, you delegate it out to a third party, whether it's payroll, accounting, your virtual, whatever it is, you still have to retain the responsibility of that original task.
Yes.
And especially I find it with accounting, people are just so happy to get that off their desk and to delegate it. And then they kind of disengage, and they've deflected and they've disengaged from it.
Yeah.
And you have to still stay engaged in all of that. And the other thing we tell our clients is, you can't create goals for your business if you don't know what your numbers are. You can't create those revenue goals. You don't know when your business, all businesses ebb and flow, and you have peak months and you have some really down months, and you won't know that without having those metrics and having those numbers. And the accounting is the only way to get it.
I mean, 100%. And I love that you use the word deflecting, because that was actually where I wanted to go, like kind of next in this conversation, because so many of my clients come to me, whether they realized it or they discovered it through our processes, that they have a money mindset issue, and that money is energy. Money is the exchange of services perceived and services given, right? And money, because it's energy, needs to be acknowledged in a sense. Like, you have to be able to see your money coming and going. And what happens a lot of times is that people that have money mindset blocks will literally just try to avoid thinking or avoid talking or avoid looking at their numbers, because they have maybe a belief that they grew up that money equals stress. Yeah. Money equals not enough, money equals whatever. And until you are used to looking at your numbers, thanking the numbers when they're coming in, and, releasing and thanking what you're paying for as your money is going out, and really having a grasp on that, can you start to heal those money mindset mini traumas, right? That have kept you wanting to avoid looking at things and not dealing with things. And I found such a huge breakthrough with clients that are starting to just get used to looking at their numbers. And it's like, now they've taken away the scariness. They've taken away the unknown. They've taken away things that felt like they were outside of their control, and allowed them to be able to have a handle on it as a CEO, to be like, all right, like, this is the deal. Because when we avoid things, oftentimes the story that we make up in our mind is way worse than what is actually existing, right? And so when I know something, once I make a decision, once I look at something, then I can go into problem solving mode and be like, okay, well, this is what I need to do here. But if I'm still just in the back of trying to avoid it and resist it and making up stories of how crazy and terrible it is in my mind, I'm stuck in this crazy, icky limbo period of not getting anywhere.
Yep.
And that's what I love about you, is that you've given these women that you work with 30 years of your accounting experience, like, you've been there, done that. And it's like, you're able to walk alongside of them in their maybe money mindset muck, right?
Yes, muck.
and empowered them to be like, all right, so yes, you can delegate. Yes, it's great if you want to decide, like, I don't love doing this and I'm not good at it, but you have to, as the CEO of your company, have an idea what your numbers are, so that you can make the informed decisions to know where your business should go. If you can hire, if you can afford to take this time off, if you can add this strategy, whatever the case may be. What else do you have to say about any of that?
Yeah. I know. I love yes to all of it. Yeah, there is definitely an energy there with money and with numbers. And there is definitely in our society where it's not taught in high school or taught, money management. There's this scary stigma about it. And taking back that control and like empowering yourself by getting to know these numbers. And the first step in that is, yes, it might be delegating to somebody like myself where we'll do the accounting for you. And we will get it. And the first step is always the hardest, right? These people know they need to do something, but they don't know where to start. And having us like kind of do a once over of their accounting, get it in order, and then meeting back with them and saying, okay, this is it. It's nice and neat now. This is where we go from here. This is what we're going to do. You have to send us this information. We're going to do this. And then you have to look at these numbers, and then we can set some goals. But you have to take the baby steps. And agreed, a lot of people are very anxious about even taking that step because they know it's a mess. And if it's a mess, it's too big of an issue to tackle, you know. But you have to take those first steps. And unfortunately, the accounting software marketing schemes to let everybody think that they can do their own accounting and do their own bookkeeping is very, very misleading. And we kind of have to come in afterwards and re-educate people. But 100%. It's not that monumental a task where it can't be done. We have yet to find anybody's accounting that we couldn't handle, we couldn't tackle for them.
Right. And it's so interesting because I've heard people say that going, in front of an accountant or a financial advisor is as scary as getting naked in front of somebody else. Who's like,
oh God.
You're seeing all of my messy and stuff. But you guys, again, like the more that we avoid something, the bigger it gets in our mind. And everything is neutral. It's the story that we attach to it. And so when you can come in with somebody like Pamela, who has been there, done that, you've seen it all, and you have such a spirit about you that is like, you make me feel like, okay, I just need to lock arms with you and you've got me and we're just going to get you to where you want to go. And something that you said was really important. And again, you guys that are listening to this podcast, that I want to get you to massive forward momentum in your life and your business. That means that we need to have things work efficiently, effectively, working smarter, not harder. And I feel like, I've been there as a solopreneur trying to DIY everything and I don't know where to start. And sometimes it's like, okay, you get to a point where you have so much success, like 6-figure business. And then you're like, but I don't really have any systems in place. And I'm embarrassed to go to somebody and say like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how I got this far, but I did. And now I don't know what to do. And so I think it's just really, really empowering in my mind to decide to say, all right, today is the day that I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to take care of this before this runaway train gets any worse or before I even get started, because I want to set myself up for success straight off the bat. And that's what I love about what you do is you have this like such a cool system that I've never seen anywhere else in your space, but you have these really cool courses and you have group coaching essentially, which is like, it's like almost like a tailored class. To the people who come in the small intimate group that get to come to you where they're at, and you get to teach them customized like curriculum and answer their questions unique to their situation. And I love that because when I've heard about some of the things that you teach, it's like, it's not just, business strategy. And I want to get to that in a second, but it's like basics, like what software should I use? How do I set my financial goals? What else? I mean, there's other things that you teach.
So we try to, because I hear a lot that, you can watch YouTube video, you can go into other like coaching programs and they teach you, all these things to do, but we try to teach them how to do it, right, as well. So our executive office hours, we just launched that this year. And we're keeping it very small on purpose. We want to be able to do these monthly Zooms with our clients. And it's not just business advice. It's advice for your business, for your specific business. So we will go in and we will teach, we meaning me, I'll teach, some basic business or accounting lesson, if you will. And then it's Q&A, and that kind of guides the rest of the whole hour. It's what are you dealing with right now? Is it a tax thing? Is it accounting? Is it something you're dealing with? Is it, a loan or whatever it is? We will answer the questions right then and there. And sometimes, the discussion will spur more questions, but it's very tailored, because we don't want to just sit there and lecture about business and accounting, because that can be really boring.
Yeah.
And it may not apply to your business. So who is ever in the session, that's what guides we do. Why I will have like a loose curriculum but sometimes I just throw it out and we just kind of wing it in the session, because there's people in there that I know are facing certain things, and that's what we'll talk about that day.
Yeah. I love doing the same thing. I have a skill set and a mindset group coaching each month, and I come in with like an idea of what we're going to talk about, but oftentimes it's so fun to let it be tailored to the people who are there and where they're stuck. And I love that that's what you do. And I also wanted to touch on this point when I talk about working smarter, not harder, and getting to where you want to go faster. The strategy component to it is something that I feel like a lot of people do not get or appreciate. And so I wanted to just, pick on myself or give myself as an example with this, you guys, that I could definitely, try to fill out my tax form myself or hire somebody to do my taxes. And like Pamela said, my husband and I did this for years when I worked in my 9 to 5. Like we meet with our accountant. We hand her all of our envelopes. She goes over everything and asks if there's anything we're missing, like church contributions or whatever. And then she calls us and tells us when our return is in, right? And that's basically the gist of it. When I became a business owner, when I decided that I wanted to have long-term legacy wealth, when I decided that I wanted to live and give like no one else, it takes more than just submitting your taxes once a year. It's how do I maximize everything that I'm doing to be able to maximize my deductions, to be able to have my business set up in a way that is going to serve myself, serve my family. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So when I started my company, because I have so many different umbrellas, like we decided that I was going to be an S Corp and that I am an employee of my own company and I get a paycheck from my company. There's so many benefits to that, as far as like my personal tax bracket is lower because of that. Recognizing and when I work with, strategists like yourself, like it's like, okay, well, you can deduct this, this, and this. I would say that you need more of this, you need less of this. And even coming down to like, we met with our financial advisor a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, okay, do I want to do a solo 401k? Do I want to do this? Do I want to hire my kids as employees so that I can give them? There's so much, you guys, that you can do that people often don't realize that. Like I talk to people who have, wanted to leave their 9 to 5 forever, and they haven't because they're scared of the golden handcuffs, the pension and the health insurance and all the things. But what I help them understand is when you work with a tax strategist like Pamela, you actually end up keeping like way more of your money than I ever did as a W-2 employee. And so when you look at that, like as long as you can be really intentional with somebody like you and allocate the money that you keep to things like that, like you don't have those golden handcuffs like literally dissolve in front of you.
Yeah. We tell people it's not, when people look at our fees, they're like, well, that's really, that's not in line with what I want to spend. And we're not an expense for your business. We are an investment. It's our job, my job, to make sure we're saving you more money than you're paying us in fees. That's my job. That's my goal. And we reach it all the time? Nope, but we get really close. And it's so important, yes, to be strategic, and there's so much involved. And we have structured our whole like onboarding system. The more we know about you, the more I can save you money. So we have a detailed like intake questionnaire. We do a kickoff meeting when we onboard people. We want past tax returns. It's really comprehensive because I want to see where the gaps are in what you've been doing and what we're going to be doing for you. And the only way to do that is to just know so much about you. How old are your kids? Do you own a house? Are you renting? What state you live in? what kind of investments you already have, what your business is like. And yeah, there's a lot to it. Are you the right entity? Should you be an S Corp or an LLC? How much money are you making? What are your goals?
Yeah.
Are your goals to grow the business and sell it? Are the goals to grow the business and have your kids take over it? All of those things impact what we're doing with your accounting, with your taxes, with the advice that we give you, how we structure things. All of those things impact and kind of, it's like an onion. There's lots of layers there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all very important. And when I hear that people, and we hear this all the time, when we hear that people are coming from a CPA firm or a tax preparer to us, and that they just gave their tax preparer their little spreadsheet for their business, that won't fly with us, because it's not enough information, and we want to save you money. We can't save you money if you just send us a little spreadsheet that you've created. We don't know if it's complete information.
Yeah.
So we try to tell people it's worth the investment, because we're going to save you money in the long run.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so I know that there's something else that I wanted to talk to you about in a moment, but let's kind of wrap up the whole, like, the tax and the bookkeeping and the accounting part of our conversation to the people who are listening, these women out here who are like, oh my gosh, like, I never thought about it, but I am kind of a hot mess, and I have been like winging it up to this point. What tips would you give those women who are listening and really inspire them to work smarter, not harder, and get to where they want to go faster?
So yeah, the best tips I can give you is, if you are just starting out and the numbers things are not your thing, you have to start very simple, and then you can make it more complicated as you go. But start with a business bank account. If you have a business, should have a separate account, bank account, checking account for your business. Same thing for a credit card. Don't use your personal credit card. Have a separate credit card that you use just for business expense, and don't mix them, because even if you have a terrible system or no system at all, at the end of the year for your taxes, you have those 12 bank statements that you're looking at for your business income and expenses.
I want to just really quickly touch on that, because I get this question a lot. And so I'm going to guess that there are people who are listening when you're starting your business and you're like, okay, I need a business bank account. I personally I just opened up another account that I've designated it to be my business account. Same with my credit card. I personally just took out another credit card that I designated strictly for business use. And when I actually finally got a business credit card, I did that very intentionally, because I needed to pay $35,000 to work with the coach that you and I worked with. Yeah. And I needed the money for that. And so I waited until I needed basically a interest-free loan for 18 months so that I could pay for that. And that's why I took out the business credit card. So I personally have told people to save the business credit card for when you might need that loan. But just as long as you take out a card that you strictly use just for business, that should work. Is that correct? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine advice. Yeah. And keeping it separate is really important. And I tell people, like, at some point you want to have like a business checking account with your business EIN number on it.
Yes.
But when you're just starting out and you don't know if, especially during COVID when people were transitioning, you don't know if your business is sustainable and it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Just open up a second checking account for now. Just get started. Keep it simple.
Yes.
But keeping them separate is really, really important. And then, as you start working with somebody like me, and you've got the separate account, now you're getting some software and you're having us do the accounting for you. And you've got that system down pat. As you take these steps to grow your business, at some point, you are going to want a business line of credit. And it also depends on what industry you're in. So that doesn't apply to everybody. But for most people, you're going to want some sort of business line of credit at some point, because you never want to be caught scrambling for money at some point, and have that line of credit already set up so you can tap into it, instead of scrambling and then going to the bank and rushing to get a line of credit.
Yeah.
But having things keeping it simple with a small, credit card, business credit card, keeping them separate. Those are the starter tips that I give everybody.
Yeah.
Keep the personal and the business separate.
And then do you have specific, software that you try to help people utilize? Do you just kind of walk through them individually with them, their own unique business and then give your recommendations for that?
Yeah. So if you already have, if you've already purchased software, we will work with that software. We may transition you. We use Zero for our accounting software. That's our preferred partner. And we may transition you to that. But we meet you where you're at. We don't like to make drastic changes because, like I said, we do a comprehensive overview of where you're at. And I know the numbers and the accounting is a source for anxiety. So we don't make drastic changes right when we hop in with somebody. We'll meet you and we'll be using the software that you're using, but gradually, as we get you, acclimated to our system,
Yeah.
we'll make suggestions like, hey, we use this software. This really works for us. Let's try this. You know what, let's meet with, you don't have a financial planner, we'll introduce you to one.
Yeah.
If you want to set up a retirement plan, we'll educate you on, hiring your kids. So we start off really basic to ease you into it. And then we'll add on these things as we get to know each other and as the year goes on.
Yeah, I love that. Any other tips that you wanted to make sure to mention that I haven't given you a chance to say?
I mean, we tell people when you're in business the first year, it's okay to use a spreadsheet. And we actually have a spreadsheet. It's our one-page accounting system that we give out for free for clients. But after that, if you're serious about your business, you have to use some sort of software. You really do. You cannot run a business without accounting software.
Yeah. I love that so much. And so you've said simple a couple of times. And I think that that's what I want, the audience to really grasp, is that it doesn't have to be really complicated. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's how do you eat an elephant, right? And when you have somebody that's going to walk alongside of you and make you feel safe and make you feel, seen and support your vulnerability, it makes a world of difference. And okay, so thank you for that. Now I want to switch gears a little bit, you guys, because Pamela is the special unicorn in my life. And I wanted to just acknowledge something, because when my students in Spiral Up come to me, in my high level version of my program, I actually meet with them once a month. And then I recommend an expert for them to connect with once a month. That's included in our package. And Pamela gets referred often for people to use their expert credit, but not always for tax strategy. I refer people to Pamela often because she has created a beautiful system for her life that includes long-term wealth, a growth strategy that includes amazing passive income. And that's my whole goal in my life and the people that I serve, is how can I help you find additional streams of income using what you are already good at, what you already love, and your current clientele population that just needs an extra level of service. And that's exactly what she's done in creating these courses. And girlfriend, you have built a beautiful brand on Instagram. So you guys are going to have to go on Instagram and follow Pamela. The link is in the show notes. But she has built this beautiful brand on Instagram that has brought in people to her sphere of influence, and then is giving them access to their various courses. And so when I have clients of mine that are realtors, they run I have a woman who runs a music therapy business with several employees, and with 3 kids, she wants to find other ways to make additional income. Right. And so she's able to see oh my gosh, Pamela's already doing this. It's not just, trading time for money for the rest of my life. It is literally, how can I find other ways to maximize my expertise and to serve a bigger audience in an evergreen, beautiful, passive way. And you've done that.
Yes, we're trying to. It's an ever evolving thing, right? When you branch out in that direction. And I tell people all the time, yes, you're doing your thing and you're doing whatever that thing is, but you're also an expert in your field.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you know because you've been doing it for so long, but people don't know what you know, like you know it.
Yeah.
So delivering that message in a way, and we do this a lot on Instagram. We lead with value. We're not really pushy on hey, buy our services, because we want to attract the educated and people who want to educate themselves. So we lead with tips and tools and just everyday learning nuggets of knowledge on our Instagram. We have some have like little mini courses that we have. Some of them are for free on our website. We are always developing other courses, which are paid courses that are a little more involved. We have our group coaching also. But yeah, we're always looking for different ways to reach the business owner, to educate them. That's the blanket message that we have.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't be educated. There's no reason why you can't be strategic about what you're doing. It may be a little scary, but you just have to have the right team around you, right? To support you and to cheer you on. And that's what we try to do. Everything we put out there has that basic premise, is that we're trying to educate the business owner so that they can be better at what they do.
100%. And that's a cool thing. Again, it's all about forward momentum and spiraling up. And what I have found, because we were talking about this before we were recording, that, I have what I call my foundations of success. They're the things, the 7 pillars of things that I notice have held every single one of my clients back. And I've basically created modules with workbooks that people can work through to educate themselves in bite-sized chunks, so that when we get a chance to get together, it's like rocket fuel, because now they already have the basics. So now we get to take that and we can just explode it, and you can get further faster because of that. And you're doing the same thing. You're like, these are the things that I see my clients coming to, that needing education over and over and over again. Here are resources so that when we meet, it's boom. And we get a chance to get way more further faster. And gosh, it's so much fun, you guys. So I just wanted to point that out, because you are an example of what's possible. Because people think, oh, I'm an accountant. Oh, I'm a whatever. Oh, there's so many ways that we can make money online.
Yeah. And if you look at our website, so our website is very, very different from other CPA websites. It's a little more girly, it's a little more vibrant, but our pricing is right on there. We have all of our fees. It's flat fee. Where our pricing starts, you should never ever enter into a relationship with any kind of professional if you don't know how much their fees cost. It should never be open-ended. You will at all times know how much it's going to cost you to work with us. And I think that's a little bit of anxiety when working with a CPA or an attorney. You don't know how much it's going to cost you at the end of the year, at the end of the day. And we work with a lot of people. That's the whole, what we're trying to teach is budgeting and knowing what your numbers are.
Yes.
So our fee should be one of those numbers that you know.
Absolutely. And, I'm just going to kind of wrap up our conversation to speak to the women out there who are recognizing that you maybe have a money mindset block that has been holding you back. For the longest time, I had a hard time charging what I was worth because of my money mindset block. I had a hard time looking at my numbers, because growing up, my mom and dad never talked about money unless they said that they didn't have any, or that they didn't have enough. And I never saw them sit down and balance their checkbook. And so for me, it was like this very elusive, stressful, vague, mysterious thing that never brought joy. And so I had to deal with that before I could become the person that I'm supposed to be. And so if anything, you guys, I want you to consider, diving into some of Pamela's coursework, just to build the muscle of being able to look at your numbers without having an emotional reaction, or having I want you to have a positive emotional reaction when you see watching money coming in and out and all the things. So there's so much that you do for people, and I'm so grateful to have you in my corner and for you to be my friend and to get to work with you and all the things. I just adore you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's our number one goal here. We're trying to elevate people just like you. We're doing it in just a little bit different way, but that's where we thrive, is when our clients and our audience are getting the message that we're sending out, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Make sure that you check out the show notes for all of the ways that you connect with Pamela. We'll have her social media on there, her contact information, website, social. We already said social, freebie, all the things. So make sure that you go ahead and check that out. Leave a review. Let us know what your favorite part was. And Pamela, I can't wait to continue our conversations inside of Spiral Up and having you help all my clients. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thanks, Lachelle.
All right. Bye, everybody. So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.